And Gypsy, how are you gonna have a book signing and not actually sign the books? You know how you go to a meet and greet and you get somebody to sign something and you get a picture of them signing it and you just get the whole experience. You get to talk to them, say, yeah, can you make it out to so and so for such and such and blah blah blah. You know, that's what a book signing is. I don't know if you know, but that's what a book signing is. What you did was, hey, I want you to pay to come look at my face and get my book.
I'm a threat to a convicted murderer.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard is once again in the headlines, but this time, it is not for her tragic past or her release from prison. It's for something that has stirred up a storm of criticism and deep anger. Her recently released memoir, My Time to Stand, has brought her mother's family, who have largely remained silent until now, out of the shadows, and they're not holding back. Deedee Blanchard's sisters, Claudia Oliver and Dola Petrie, have made their voices loud and clear. They accuse Gypsy of exploiting Deedee's life and death for profit. In a heartfelt statement, Dola wrote, I appreciate what y'all are doing for my sister. She did not deserve to die the way she did. And Claudia followed up saying it is sick how they think it's funny the way they butchered her up and put her nude body out there for laughs. I pray they feel pain one day. These statements aren't just words. They're charged with grief and outrage of a family who feels their sister's memory is being trampled on by the very person responsible for her death. This is raw, unfiltered pain. The pain that lingers and resurfaces every time Deedee's name is mentioned in the public eye. For years, Claudia and Dola tried to stay quiet, likely to preserve their family's privacy and avoid media scrutiny. But this book has ripped open those wounds, forcing them to come forward and defend their sister's memory. Imagine being in their shoes, losing a loved one in such a brutal, publicized way, only to see the person responsible not only free, but profiting from the tragedy. That's the reality Claudia and Dola face every time Gypsy's story is told, a story that often villainizes Deedee while absolving Gypsy. Dola's words, she did not deserve to die the way she did, underscore a pain of truth. No matter the allegations against Deedee or the abuse Gypsy claims to have endured, murder is not justice. And for Deedee's family, this memoir feels like salt in the wound, a public retelling of events that ignores their grief and reduces their sister's life to a narrative Gypsy can manipulate for personal gain. Claudia's statement, I pray they feel the pain one day, encapsulates the anger and frustration of a family that feels silenced and overlooked. To them, Gypsy's book isn't just a memoir, it's a betrayal. It's a public declaration that Gypsy's perspective matters more than their loss, that her version of events can overshadow the complexities of who Deedee was as a person.
Is a brief good luck to everybody tomorrow at the vigil for Deedee. Justice for Deedee. I wish I could go. If I lived in the US, I would definitely be there. Just a word of warning, a positive one. Gypsy will be seething at you guys. She will hate the fact that she can't manipulate you and that you know that she's a narcissistic psychopath. She will hate every single one of you, and it will be eating her up inside that you will be outside supporting Justice for Deedee, her victim. Gypsy Rose Blanchard manipulates the vulnerable. She thinks they're idiots, disposable, has never heard the word no, and when she does, well, Pixie soon found out why it should have been a no. I think that's the only thing that Deedee was guilty of, other than fraud, which isn't great, but it doesn't condone murder. Yeah, she was guilty of spoiling her rotten, because Gypsy Rose is an adult brat. She still continues the same behaviours. She'll never change.
This backlash from the family sets the stage for the larger controversy surrounding Gypsy's book signing. It is not just about a book or a public appearance. It is about unresolved grief, unhealed wounds, and the fight to preserve the memory of a woman who can no longer defend herself. On December 13th, Gypsy hosted a book signing at the Garden District Bookshop in New Orleans. The event was billed as a meet and greet where attendees could purchase tickets for $35, which included a signed copy of the book and a photo with Gypsy herself. But what unfolded at the event has left many people shaking their heads and questioning the motivations behind it. What initially appeared to be a standard book signing quickly became a battleground of public opinion. Several TikTok creators, including Pink Pony Club, made their way to New Orleans not just to observe but to actively protest the event. These individuals weren't there for petty disruption or publicity. They were deeply invested in seeking truth and justice for Deedee Blanchard.
Good morning from the Pink Pony Poly Club. I know you guys are wondering about the upcoming protest and vigil for Deedee Blanchard, which is going to be held on Friday the 13th in New Orleans at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time at the Garden District Bookshop. If you are a creator that would like to go and cover this event, or you are trying to be part of a protest or a vigil, this is an individual effort. Every person, is free to go and do as they please in your Second Amendment rights to peacefully protest without impeding traffic, without blocking anybody from being able to get to where they go. Now, if you are planning to go and you need some help getting there, or if you are someone who is willing to help people get to this event, there is a way that you can connect with each other, and Sir Morbid has set that up on a very private Discord server. You will be video verified, so know that up front. No one's going to have access to any of this. Nobody is going to see the chat with your personal information. This is just a way for people who are planning to attend to connect with each other if they want to, and anybody who would like to donate and help fund and make that possible, you're able to connect with people who are in need of that as well.
Pink Pony Club, a prominent figure in this movement, described her attendance as more of a vigil for Deedee, a solemn attempt to honor her memory rather than simply a protest against Gypsy's actions. However, things escalated rapidly. Pink Pony Club live-streamed her experience, providing her followers with a real-time look at the tensions inside and outside the venue. According to her, she was forcibly removed from the bookstore by police. The most shocking revelation came when officers reportedly told her they were not there to protect Gypsy, but to ensure the safety of others from Gypsy and her supporters. This statement flipped the narrative on its head, implying a level of concern about Gypsy's camp that few expected. It added a layer of complexity to an already charged atmosphere and left many questioning what kind of dynamics were unfolding behind the scenes.
Hi, Pink Pony. I'm so sorry. We're gonna have to ask you to go. Thanks.
This is exactly why.
Okay, you don't get to touch my personal belongings. You're putting your hand in my face. And why am I being asked to leave?
I'm considered a threat to this event, unfortunately. I'm so sorry.
I'm considered a threat to this event as a paying customer.
Why?
This is a public place. I paid for a ticket.
Okay, take a walk with me.
Okay, can I get what I paid for though? The product that I paid for?
Here's your refund.
I paid for a ticket.
Okay, take a walk with me.
Okay, can I get what I paid for though? The product that I paid for?
Here's your refund.
Hilarious. Y'all see this? I'm a threat to the convicted murderer's autograph signing. Me, a live streamer. Y'all see? I'm a threat to a convicted murderer. Me. That's hilarious. Say hey guys. Hi.
And then there was the issue of security measures inside the bookstore. Gypsy herself was reportedly not allowed to have a pen to sign books. While the exact reason remains unclear, this peculiar detail fueled speculation. Was it a precaution due to safety concerns, an attempt to control the optics of the event, or something more orchestrated? Whatever the reason, it added to the sense of a tightly managed spectacle, raising questions about who was truly being protected and why such measures were necessary at all.
Now, there were a lot of rumors going around about Gypsy not having a pen to sign the book, and nobody really knew why. Well, y'all know I had to get the scoop. So apparently everything was already pre-signed, and it was just because she was getting nervous with everything going on, so she pre-signed everything already, and it was just to help her save time. Also, no one was allowed to bring personal items because there were a lot of threats that were going on in regards to showing up at the book signing. So everything was basically planned out to keep her safe, but the reason why she didn't have a pen is because she already pre-signed everything, so that when they came, hand on the book, boom, done.
This development turned what might have been a straightforward book promotion into a controversial and polarizing event. For some, the gathering symbolized Gypsy's attempt to reclaim her voice and rebuild her life. For others, it was an offensive display of insensitivity and profiteering at the expense of her mother's memory. The stark contrast between these perspectives played out both in person and online, leaving an indelible mark on the public's perception of Gypsy and her motives. Outside the bookstore, the scene was equally charged. Protesters like Pink Pony Club described a heavy police presence, a tense atmosphere, and interactions with Gypsy's supporters that were anything but friendly. Pink Pony Club, who has become a prominent voice in advocating for justice for Deedee Blanchard, shared her account of feeling unsafe and unsupported. At one point, she identified an individual who had allegedly made threats against her. Shockingly, instead of addressing her concerns, she was the one escorted out by police.
I'm a threat to a convicted murderer.
During her removal, Pink Pony Club live streamed this incident to her followers, capturing a moment that encapsulated the absurdity of the situation. She sarcastically remarked, "I'm a threat to the convicted murderer's autograph signing. Me, a live streamer." Wow. Her pointed words struck a chord with viewers who felt the injustice of the moment, many expressing outrage online as they watched the event unfold in real time. The irony of her situation wasn't lost on anyone. Here was a woman attempting to peacefully protest and highlight the ethical concerns surrounding Gypsy's actions, yet she was treated as the disruptive element. Adding fuel to the fire, lifetime cameras were reportedly on site, filming the protest and the interactions around it. The detail quickly became a point of contention. Many speculated that Lifetime's presence wasn't coincidental, but rather an orchestrated move to dramatize the event for their own narrative. Protesters accused the network of crafting a storyline that would paint Gypsy as a victim, yet again, potentially glossing over the deeper ethical questions surrounding her book and its promotion. For the protesters, this wasn't just about Gypsy's memoir. It was about justice, accountability, and respect for Gypsy's memory. The decision to broadcast these interactions only deepened their concerns, suggesting that the event wasn't just a book signing, but part of a larger media production aimed at reshaping public perception in Gypsy's favor. The clash between these two narratives, protesters demanding accountability and the curated story of Gypsy's redemption, set the stage for an emotional and highly charged encounter that left no one indifferent. To fully understand the outrage, let's step back for a moment. Gypsy's story is one that's been told and retold in documentaries, movies, and countless articles. It's the story of a young woman who endured years of abuse under her mother, Deedee Blanchard. Deedee forced Gypsy to pretend she was gravely ill, subjecting her to unnecessary medical treatments and a life of lies. But in 2015, everything changed. Gypsy conspired with her then-boyfriend, Nicholas Gauguin, to murder Deedee. The crime shocked the world, and the subsequent trial painted Gypsy as both a victim and a perpetrator. She was sentenced to 10 years in prison, but became something of a controversial figure, part tragic behavior, part convicted criminal. Now with her release and this new memoir, Gypsy seems intent on rewriting the narrative, but her actions are leaving many questioning her sincerity. If she truly wanted to leave the past behind and seek redemption, why release a book that reopens old wounds and profits from her mother's death? And more importantly, why dismiss the pain and voices of Deedee's family? Gypsy has consistently claimed that she's not profiting off her mother's story, but let's be real, this book directly references Deedee's life and death. It's impossible to separate the two. Every ticket sold to her book signing, every copy of My Time to Stand purchased is tied to the public's fascination with her dark and tragic story. Whether she acknowledges it or not, Gypsy is profiting from Deedee's memory, and that's a hard pill to swallow for those who love Deedee despite her flaws. Then there's the portrayal of Deedee in the book itself. According to Claudia and Dollar, the memoir slanders and degrades their sister. It's not just about telling Gypsy's side of the story, it's about painting Deedee in a light that justifies Gypsy's actions and absolves her of guilt. But can any amount of abuse justify murder? And should Gypsy be the one controlling the narrative when her actions led to Deedee's violent death? As we piece together the events of this book signing, the protests, the family's heartfelt statements, one thing becomes clear. This is a deeply polarizing story with no easy answers. Gypsy Rose Blanchard is a figure who inspires both sympathy and skepticism. But as she steps back into the public eye, her actions and the consequences of those actions are under sharper scrutiny than ever. What do you guys think? Is Gypsy justified in telling her story, or is this a blatant exploitation of her mother's life and death? And what responsibility does she have to Deedee's family, who are still mourning their loss? Let us know in the comments as we continue to follow this unfolding drama.